Hello, everyone. We are Agnes and Alessandro from Harmony Consulting, and we are here today with Shamon Harper from Harper Therapy in Lutz, Florida. And Shamon is the co-owner of Harper Therapy, a private pay practice specialized in working with couples, teens, and helping their patients with trauma. And before working together, Shamon's business was kind of growing to a place where they found that marketing is more necessary. They were playing around with some social media and Google ads, but they have never really established a real effective sales funnel or a real marketing goal to chase and real objective to work towards too. And as their practice is growing now, they found that they need to focus more on marketing because they've grown kind of to a place where they can't just rely on word of mouth and referrals anymore. And during working together, we worked on building a sales funnel in Shamon's practice. And by implementing our strategies and using the Harmony model to help Shamon generate new patient inquiries, we attracted around 14 new clients, I believe, interested in therapy in the 3 weeks since starting this funnel and working together. And now, after working together for a few weeks, we are now in a place where we're planning to go ahead with more projects and building more sales funnels in Shamon's business to kind of build new streams of passive income that can help them grow their business long term. Right? All right. So why don't you tell us more about your situation before, Shamon, and where were you before we met, before we started working together?
Yeah. So before we met, so our practice has grown, over the course of the last 5 years or so, 6 years, I think. And as a group practice. So we were a solo practice. We started hiring other people and growing. We really feel like, we have value when it comes to helping people, right? But part of the problem is reaching people to let them know you're available to help, especially when you're not an insurance-based billing practice, but a private pay billing practice like ours. So reaching clients is very important, and getting to the process of knowing who your ideal client is and how to speak to them and really create something that engages them is really important. So, as we've kind of gone along and continued to grow, we've kind of started to hit the bottom of the table, I guess, right? Like it's hard to kind of push through and grow beyond that as a business. And really it comes down to reach and reach in a way that is really thought through and intentional and, process driven. Like we do a lot of social media engagement. We do a lot of blogging and videos, and we're on all the things, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, all the social media platforms, and that builds audience. But really, I think at the end of the day, when you kind of reach that point where you need to push it through where you're kind of capping, a real process is really what's required. And it was kind of outside of us. So there you go with you guys.
Perfect. And where you said that you kind of hit the table or hit the roof with the growth of your practice, and where did you try to grow to? What was your desired situation, let's say, and the goal that you had in mind for your practice?
Obviously the goal in the mind for the practice is to pay the bills and pay everybody and maintain our team. And, we live in the Tampa Bay area. And work in the Tampa Bay area. It is a growing and thriving area. And there's a lot of help that we can do for people, right? It's very important for us to be able to say, hey, we are here as an option to help you and all the people in our community. So it's really, from that standpoint, it's not like we're trying to grow this massive business or anything. We're just trying to have a practice that has about 6-7 people working in it. So it's a pretty small, moderate sized practice. But at the same time, we want to be able to reach kind of our ideal clients, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. That's a quite typical goal for many practices, right? And they all find themselves in a kind of similar situation sometimes, right? Where they want to grow, but they don't really know how. So I guess the question here is, why do you think you were not able really to grow beyond that point on your own?
I think we tried all the things that we knew to try, and while we're slowly building audience, having a real method and a process, and really when it comes down to a sales funnel, like how do you take a client that's out there that is your ideal client and that could really use your business and help that you can provide to, hey, here's a therapist that can help you, and sitting down in a chair with them, right? And that whole process has to be thought through, like from just somebody on the street needing help to sitting in a chair in an office getting help. It's not as simple as just opening the doors and hanging a sign, right?
Yes.
It's hard to let people know that you are an option for them.
Yes, and it's hard to reach them when you don't really know how, right?
Right, absolutely. If you don't, this is beyond most business owners, right? Like we're all pretty good at, especially in like therapy practice, we're all pretty good at like keeping it small and reaching a small group of people and being there as an option and creating websites and all that kind of stuff, right? And many of us want to do all that kind of homebrewed to ourselves, but there comes a point as your business kind of continues to grow that you need professional help with that it's beyond what you can do. The scope of it's beyond what you can do. Actually conceptualizing how you take a person and reach them as an option all the way through how you sit them in a chair and work with them is a lot more thought through than I think most private practice business owners can conceptualize.
Yeah, considering also that what you are selling, the service that you're providing is actually something that could be scary for people.
Right.
Or it's not
Right.
that it's not that the strategy here is really to go outside and start screaming therapy and this kind of stuff.
Yes, yes.
So,
Right, absolutely. This is a very hard, there are so many barriers of entry to therapy anyway, right? So you've got to like try to flatten those out as much as possible and create a safe space that somebody feels bought into the help that you can provide them. You know, you have to build that, you have to connect with them on a relational level.
Definitely. So how did reaching this kind of point for you look like? So what did it look like for you to reach the point where you found out that you need to get some help from a professional right now to grow your practice? And what motivated you to take action right now? Say not next year, next month, but right now, to start working with us right now.
I think for us, it was, we've been kind of bouncing off of a plateau of what we could reach and how many clients we sign up every month and how many people we're getting walked through the doors and helping, right? Like we as we've grown, the requirement goes up, right? As we hire new people and grow. And eventually we'll get to a point where we're like, okay, this is a great spot to be. But even maintaining that, you know, there's always people, a therapy practice has people always leaving and always coming, right? Like there's always new customers and there's always customers leaving, and our clients or whatever you want to call them. So as it's kind of just like been plateaued along, and I guess I'm moving my hand here, kind of like a chart, right? And we haven't been able to kind of trend it higher. That's where it's like, okay, maybe we've reached our max. Maybe in order to reach more people, we need to get professional help in that.
Yes, certainly. So
okay, so basically the situation before is that from solo practice you became a group practice. You try a lot of stuff, social media. You did whatever you could do until this point, as you said, that you figure out that you need a process, because it's difficult to engage with this kind of target and provide this kind of service. So, and when we started working on this process together, we started with an analysis. So can you tell us more about that? What you think about, how did you feel during our process working together?
So I think probably the biggest word, the first word I would use is probably thorough. Your guys' process is extremely thorough. And, you know, from a marketing standpoint, you really have to get down to who is your ideal client. And you guys really, and then how do you speak to that ideal client, right? Your guys' process is phenomenal when it comes down to how does that ideal client, who are they, and what are they thinking, and what can we say to reach them? You know, you guys have a very methodical and thorough process that takes you through, okay, this is who we're trying to reach, and this is how we reach them. This is what we need to say to reach them. And your guys' process is incredible on that. You know, it is so far beyond what we could conceptualize. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Thank you. And so during this process, we went through this worksheet, you know, like we actually worked a lot in the analysis because it was a very huge part of the process, which allowed us then to understand how to communicate with you. And so what do you think? What did you think about these worksheets? As in, I know that sometimes can be a bit uncomfortable because it's a bit, you know, difficult, but I don't know, you tell me your point of view.
I think it's really good. You know, it's an interesting parody between, so the two of you guys, like Agnes is the creativity, Alessandro is kind of the analytics, right? Like he's the data. So you guys make a pretty good pairing in that, and that actually kind of comes through in your worksheets. Like you can almost kind of tell, you know, what is driving back in data and important things that Alessandro needs to track versus how do we create something that's engaging for clients, right? So I think when it comes to you guys, I think it's a really good pairing of the two. And as far as like the worksheets and stuff are concerned, it really kind of guides you through where you're at, where you're going, and how you need to get there.
Yes, so you saw that, you know, this is a thorough process, as you said, right? And it's not just maybe let's also talk about, you know, working together on these works, because it's not just that we gave you, let's say, a pack of exercises, right? A list of
yeah. I mean, you guys sat down with us and we talked through every. So the amount of time that you guys spent with us was pretty incredible too. And you guys like handheld us through that entire process. But I understand why you have to do that, because in order to create like an effective sales funnel for that, you really need to understand who you're talking to. And you really need to get the information that we have about who that person is, right? Like that the business has about who that person is. So you guys certainly take the time. And I think you go probably even above and beyond when it comes to the time that you spend and the hand holding that you spend and sitting down and working through the worksheets. It's not like, here's this stuff, just figure it out and get back to us. You know, even where you guys had questions on things that I do fill out, you would ask for more clarifying answers and things like that. So
yeah, definitely. And all of that we found allowed us to get great results together, and not only get to know each other and get to know you and your business and your therapist and what exactly you're doing, but also connect with your ideal patient more and understand them through your eyes, since you're the expert on the situation, right? You're the expert, you're working with them day by day. So you know best who they are and how to best connect with them and reassure them and build trust with them. And this also allowed us to get to know you better and help you better throughout the process, right? So talking about time as well, because that's something that happened, right? That we spent a lot of time together in the initial meetings, in the initial research phase, analysis phase. Some people sometimes worry that it can be tricky because we are working from two different countries, right? You're in America, we are in Spain right now. So we have the time zones, we have, you know, adjusting the calendars and everything else. So tell us more about your experience from this perspective.
Yeah, so that hasn't been a problem at all for at least us. It's been very easy to work with you guys. Put something on a schedule, on a calendar that works, and we meet virtually, you know, just like we're recording this here, and we're off and running. We've sometimes had multiple meetings a week. Sometimes we would have one. Sometimes we didn't meet for a week. You know, it just depended on what was going on and what was necessary. And I never felt like pressured to change my schedule, or, you know, you guys, I think we always pretty easily found some common ground to meet with no problems or concerns.
Yeah, definitely. That was something great about working together. We could always align our schedules, find time to work together. And, you know, despite being in two different ends of the world, we still did a great job together. And, you know, time and distance, that didn't really matter in this case, right?
No, it did not.
Yeah, definitely.
So considering all this process that we've been through together, what would you say that is the best thing that you get from us, working with us?
I feel like you guys are really bought in. Like, I feel like you're part of my team, right? And over this process, I think we've kind of developed a relationship where you feel like you just plug in and you get it and you know where we're going and you're helping us get there. I think that's the biggest thing I pulled away from it. And there's a big level of comfort that comes with that, other than it's just like, we've done this thing and you're doing something and I don't know what you're doing. It's, you know, we've touched base, we've talked about things, we've adjusted things, we've dialed in things, you know, it's a living process and we've met through it. And I think for me, that has been very good and very comforting.
Mhm.
Thank you. I'm happy you're saying that, because we actually care a lot,
Mhm.
a lot that our clients understand what's this process about. You know, we don't like just do things for them, and don't even them to and for them to don't understand what we are doing.
Mhm.
And
Right. No, I totally think you guys like come alongside of, and you're bought in, and you know, you're part of the process. You're part of the team, not just some cold here, do this, do, you know, and step away.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we're in a business to business setting, let's say, or something very cold corporate like that, but we are working together very closely as a team, like you said, as one team with one goal to help you
Right.
achieve what you want to achieve and help you get there with our knowledge and our expertise, sorry, and your knowledge of the patient, of the target, and combining all of that together to create something great, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. And tell us, how's life now, basically, after these few weeks, few months of working together? How would you say the life of your business is now after all of that is taken care of?
Yeah, I would say it's going well. I think for the most part, we're meeting our goals and we're continuing to tweak and dial in. And I think it's just getting better and better. So I think it's, you know, I feel like we have a very fluid working relationship and it's very relational, and that's important for a business that's all about relationships for therapy. So it feels right and it feels like it's working well.
Certainly.
So what's the next step for you and for your business at this point?
That's a great question, right? Like, obviously we're going to continue to grow. Actually, we'll probably do more things together, right? We've talked about doing things with some passive income and some courses and offering other things that we've thought about before and we've never really thought we could realize. And I think now there's definitely some things we can realize in that area through working with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We do have plans on expanding what else we can do together, on exploring other areas and avenues. And as you said, helping you with building some passive income, helping you with building some courses and finding other ways of, growing your practice beyond where you are now, but not by adding new patients, because that just creates more work and more difficulties, right? But by finding new avenues where you can still grow without having more work added on. And that's especially important because you are self-pay, private pay practice, right? You're not an insurance-based practice. And that's often something that comes quite in contrast, right?
Right. So, I mean, in the world of therapy and really providing medical services in the US, you know, you're either private pay or you're self-pay, right? I mean, you're either self-pay, private pay, or your insurance billing. And insurance is a tough model. It's a tough model that doesn't really value the client or really the provider very much. Mm-hmm. So it is hard. You have to market and you have to reach your clients with a sales funnel if you're going to attract the kind of clients that can work with you. You know, it is challenging, but I will say it reaches a client that is very motivated to do the work that you're doing, and they're very bought in and they're ready to do the work because they are investing in themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and also that's kind of a different kind of target, right? That you need to attract. It's not just that you're getting these clients through a channel of, doctors and referrals and insurance providers. You also have to go out there and somehow find them instead of just relying on word of mouth and referrals. And this is what we worked on basically in a big summary, right?
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah. So perfectly. So now, basically, to grow beyond that point, instead of adding more work to your practice, more clients, and having to hire more therapists, we are looking at other ways of expanding your business, essentially, right? And
Mhm.
growing in different directions so that you don't have more work, but you do have more revenue. So to summarize all of that, how would you say in one sentence, if you can, to describe what we do for others?
Oh, wow. In one sentence, I don't know if I can do that in one sentence, but I can say you guys have a very thorough, very fluid process of doing something that is very complex to conceptualize for business owners that do what we do. You can kind of come alongside of that, and you can take that what they want to do to another level. And because everybody wants to reach their ideal client, everybody wants to have everybody know that they are a light in their community to help people. And I think you guys kind of help shine that light a little bit, because if you can't reach people, no one knows you're there.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So
that's a good summary. Thank you. So to conclude all, that we work together on everything we talked about today, what would be your one word, one sentence of advice to another therapist like you who's in your situation before, who's trying to
Right.
build a business? What would you say to them as a word of encouragement and advice?
I would say trust the process, take the leap and do it, because I know you're thinking, I don't want to make this investment, or I'm struggling with how do I do this, and I can do it myself, because that's what everybody thinks they can do it themselves, but they can't. So just invest and trust the process, and it will reap the rewards.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
do you have any other questions?
No.
I think we concluded.
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you, Shamon. Thanks so
Thank you
much.
so much.
And,
Thanks, guys.
thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.